I've been having discussions with Chat GPT lately. Before I continue on, let me explain that I'm very well aware that Chat GPT can make mistakes and give incorrect information. My techie sons remind me of that every time I mention AI, as well as how I'm destroying the planet by using it. According to my boys, Chat GPT and other large language models work by aggregating as much textual content as possible and then building a relationship from one word to the next for every single word in every single text block. You then ask it a question, and then based on the words you give it, it will make a best guess, an approximation of what you're looking for. Sometimes, if your question is specific enough, there is an answer on the internet already, or multiple answers on the internet already that are the answer. It only knows about them because it has scraped the internet for as much text content as possible. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, I will continue. I've been discussing end times destruction prophecy with ChatGPT. I think that the answers are legit because I read a lot and I listen to interviews with experts a lot and I watch YouTube videos a lot, and we all know that they are super accurate. Imagine a winking face emoji following that last statement. So the answers seem to be fairly accurate to me, and if they're not, no harm done, because it's all conjecture anyway. No one really knows how things will play out, but it sure is fun to guess and to have discussions with ChatGPT. We will go through some questions that I have asked Mr. GPT and discuss his answers with my own art and video, or art and video that I've created with AI, further destroying the planet. I think that I will also have Mr. GPT talk in this video as well. I'll use a free text-to-voice app so his voice will sound like a robot. Question: what natural or human events would cause the sun and moon to appear dark and not give their light?
Total solar eclipse. A total solar eclipse occurs when the moon passes directly between the Earth and the sun, completely blocking the sun's light for a brief period. From the perspective of observers on Earth within the path of totality, the sun appears completely darkened by the moon. Total lunar eclipse. A total lunar eclipse occurs when the Earth passes directly between the sun and the moon, with the Earth's shadow, umbra, covering the moon. During totality, the moon can appear reddish or darkened due to sunlight refracted through Earth's atmosphere, giving it a dim appearance. Atmospheric phenomena. Unusual atmospheric conditions such as dense clouds, fog, smoke from wildfires, volcanic ash, or pollution can partially or completely obscure the sun or moon, making them appear dark or significantly dimmed. Volcanic eruptions. Major volcanic eruptions can release large amounts of ash and aerosols into the atmosphere. These particles can scatter and absorb sunlight, leading to a dimming effect on both the sun and moon depending on the extent and location of the eruption. Nuclear winter scenario. A catastrophic event such as a large-scale nuclear war could inject vast amounts of smoke, soot, and aerosols into the atmosphere, potentially leading to a global cooling effect known as nuclear winter. This could significantly reduce sunlight reaching Earth's surface, causing both the sun and moon to appear darkened or dimmed for an extended period. Astronomical catastrophes. While highly unlikely and speculative, extreme astronomical events such as a nearby supernova or gamma-ray burst could theoretically affect the Earth's atmosphere and the appearance of celestial bodies. These events could temporarily reduce sunlight and affect the visibility of the moon as well. These events can cause temporary or localized dimming or darkening of the sun and moon, but they do not involve permanent changes in their intrinsic properties. Each scenario has varying degrees of impact and duration.
Question: what extremely rare and catastrophic event on a cosmic scale would cause the sun and the moon to darken?
One extremely rare and catastrophic event on a cosmic scale that could cause both the sun and the moon to darken significantly is a cosmic dust cloud passing through the solar system. Here's how this hypothetical scenario could unfold. Cosmic dust clouds are immense concentrations of tiny particles, often composed of silicates and other materials, spread throughout interstellar space. These clouds can be very large, spanning many light years across. As the solar system, including the Earth, moves through a dense cosmic dust cloud, these particles would scatter and absorb sunlight. The extent of dimming would depend on the density and size of the dust particles encountered. If the cloud is sufficiently dense and extensive, it could significantly reduce the amount of sunlight reaching Earth, causing both the sun and the moon to appear darkened. The duration of such an event would depend on the speed at which the solar system moves through the dust cloud and the density gradient of the cloud itself. It could potentially last for months to years, impacting the Earth's climate and ecosystems due to reduced solar radiation. Some scientists have speculated that historical events such as the year without a summer in 1815, which was caused by the eruption of Mount Tambora and potentially aggravated by a dust veil from a comet or asteroid impact, could have been influenced by encounters with cosmic dust clouds. However, direct evidence linking historical dimming events to cosmic dust clouds remains speculative. The consequences of such an event would be profound, affecting global temperatures, weather patterns, and ecosystems. It could lead to widespread agricultural impacts, changes in biodiversity, and potentially significant societal disruptions. It's important to note that while the concept of a cosmic dust cloud causing significant dimming of the sun and the moon is plausible in theory, there is currently no direct evidence of such an event occurring in recorded history. Our understanding of cosmic dust clouds and their interactions with planetary systems is still evolving.
Question: what could cause stars to fall from the sky?
The phrase stars falling from the sky is often used metaphorically or symbolically rather than literally. However, in a literal sense, stars are massive celestial bodies that are extremely far away from Earth. They do not typically fall from the sky like objects falling to the ground on Earth. That being said, there are a few natural and hypothetical scenarios where stars might appear to fall or where objects from space could enter Earth's atmosphere. Meteor showers. Meteor showers occur when the Earth passes through debris left behind by comets or asteroids. These small particles burn up in Earth's atmosphere, creating streaks of light commonly known as shooting stars. While these are not stars in the astronomical sense, they can create the visual impression of stars falling from the sky. Supernova explosions. A supernova is a powerful and rare event where a massive star explodes at the end of its life. Although the star itself is far away, the explosion can briefly outshine an entire galaxy and may be visible from Earth, appearing as if a star has suddenly appeared or fallen from the sky. Gamma-ray bursts. These are extremely energetic explosions believed to be associated with the collapse of massive stars or the merger of compact objects like neutron stars. While typically occurring far away in distant galaxies, if a gamma-ray burst were to occur relatively close to Earth, it could briefly appear as an extremely bright burst of light in the sky. Asteroid impacts. Large asteroids or comets that collide with Earth can release immense energy upon impact. Although this wouldn't make stars fall from the sky, it could cause significant disturbances and visual phenomena, potentially resembling an extraordinary event in the sky. Theoretical scenarios. In hypothetical scenarios involving extreme cosmological events such as gravitational disruptions, cosmic strains, or other highly speculative theories, there could be unconventional ways stars might appear to fall from the sky, though these are purely speculative and not currently supported by scientific evidence.
Question: what could cause the heavens to shake and the earth to move out of its place?
The phrases "the heavens shaking" and "the earth moving out of its place" are often used in a metaphorical or symbolic sense in religious, mythological, and apocalyptic contexts. Different belief systems and cultures interpret these phrases differently, and they are often associated with significant and cataclysmic events. Here are some of the common interpretations. Natural disasters. In a literal sense, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, and other natural disasters can cause the ground to shake and the Earth's surface to move. Ancient civilizations might have interpreted these events as the heavens shaking and the Earth shifting from its place due to a lack of scientific understanding. Cosmic events. Rare astronomical events, such as a massive asteroid impact or a nearby supernova, could also be interpreted as the heavens shaking. These events would have significant global consequences and could cause widespread destruction and displacement. Metaphorical or symbolic interpretations. In religious and apocalyptic texts, the heavens shaking and the earth moving out of its place are often symbolic of divine intervention or judgment. It may represent the upheaval of the natural order, signaling significant changes or the end of an era. Prophecies and apocalyptic narratives. Many religious and mythological texts contain prophecies about the end of the world or a time of great turmoil. The imagery of the heavens shaking and the earth moving out of its place is often associated with these apocalyptic scenarios. Symbolism of political or social upheaval. In some cases, the phrases could be used metaphorically to describe political or social upheaval, indicating a major shift in power or the collapse of established institutions. It's important to note that these interpretations vary widely across different belief systems and cultural contexts. The phrases are generally not meant to be taken literally but rather to convey powerful and transformative events or ideas. They are a part of cultural and religious narratives that often hold deep meaning for the communities that adhere to them.
In light of concerns about the United States 2024 presidential election, I felt that these next questions were apropos for our time. Question: what are some of the Bible last days prophecies about the forming of groups or tribes among people?
In the Bible, there are several prophecies that mention the forming of groups or tribes among people in the last days. These prophecies often describe the gathering of nations or the alignment of various peoples in specific ways. Some of these prophecies are found in both the Old and New Testaments. Here are a few examples. Gog and Magog. In the book of Ezekiel chapters 38 and 39, there is a prophecy about a great coalition of nations led by a figure named Gog, who will come against the people of Israel in the last days. This alliance includes tribes from different regions, nations and kingdoms rising against each other. In the New Testament, particularly in the Olivet Discourse in Matthew chapter 24 verse 7, Jesus foretells that in the last days, there will be wars and rumors of wars, with nations rising against nations and kingdoms against kingdoms. Alignment of nations against Israel. In the book of Zechariah, there are prophecies concerning the nations surrounding Israel joining forces against the nation of Israel during the last days. These prophecies mention the formation of alliances and groups of nations in opposition to Israel. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people, all that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle, and the city shall be taken. Zechariah chapter 12 verse 3, and Zechariah chapter 14 verse 2. The 10 Kings. In the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation, there are prophecies about 10 kings or rulers who will emerge in the last days and work together to establish a global authority. They will align their power with a specific purpose during the end times. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. Revelation chapter 17 verses 12 and 13. The Great Apostasy. The Apostle Paul, in his letter to the Thessalonians, speaks of a falling away from the faith in the last days, where people will form various groups or factions, turning away from the truth of the gospel. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 verse 3. It's important to note that interpretations of these prophecies may vary among different religious traditions and scholars. The concept of last days or end times is a complex and multifaceted topic in biblical literature, and interpretations can differ based on one's theological perspective.
I wanted to ask the question a little closer to home. Question: are there any scriptures in the Doctrine and Covenants or the Book of Mormon that talk about people in the United States gathering into separate groups or tribes and fighting against each other?
In the Doctrine and Covenants and the Book of Mormon, there are several passages that speak to themes of conflict, division, and the gathering of people, but not all of these references are explicitly about the United States. However, some passages can be interpreted in the context of societal division and conflict, which some readers might apply to contemporary settings like the United States. Doctrine and Covenants section 45 verses 68 through 71. This passage speaks of the gathering of the faithful into places of safety during times of great tribulation. It suggests a division between the righteous and the wicked, with the former being gathered into holy places. And it shall come to pass among the wicked, that every man that will not take his sword against his neighbor must needs flee unto Zion for safety. And there shall be gathered unto it out of every nation under heaven, and it shall be the only people that shall not be at war one with another. And it shall be said among the wicked, let us not go up to battle against Zion, for the inhabitants of Zion are terrible, wherefore we cannot stand. And it shall come to pass that the righteous shall be gathered out from among all nations, and shall come to Zion, singing with songs of everlasting joy. Doctrine and Covenants section 87. This section is a prophecy about war, starting with the American Civil War and extending to a broader context of conflict. It speaks of wars being poured out upon all nations. And the time will come that war will be poured out upon all nations, beginning at this place. And thus, with the sword and by bloodshed the inhabitants of the earth shall mourn, and shall the inhabitants of the earth be made to feel the wrath, and indignation, and chastening hand of an almighty God, until the consumption decreed hath made a full end of all nations. 3 Nephi chapter 7 verses 2 through 4. This passage describes a time of great division among the Nephites, where the people were divided into tribes or factions, and there were great conflicts among them. And the people were divided one against another, and they did separate one from another into tribes, every man according to his family and his kindred and friends, and thus they did destroy the government of the land. And every tribe did appoint a chief or a leader over them, and thus they became tribes and leaders of tribes. Now behold, there was no man among them save he had much family and many kindreds and friends, therefore their tribes became exceedingly great. While these scriptures don't explicitly mention the modern United States in terms of separate groups or tribes fighting against each other, they do talk about general conflict, societal division, and the gathering of people in times of turmoil, which some might interpret as applicable to various contemporary scenarios, including within the United States.
3 Nephi chapter 7 sounds like what could easily happen in our day. Now it's time to move to catastrophes. Question: what catastrophes could explain end-of-the-world prophecies in the Bible, specifically the book of Revelation, and those found in the LDS Church's Doctrine and Covenants?
The end-of-the-world prophecies found in religious texts like the Book of Revelation in the Bible and the Doctrine and Covenants in the LDS, Mormon, Church often describe cataclysmic events and scenarios that could be interpreted in various ways. Here are some catastrophic events that could potentially align with these prophecies. Apocalyptic wars. Revelation describes wars and conflicts on a global scale, often involving supernatural elements. These could symbolize periods of intense geopolitical turmoil or actual global conflicts with catastrophic consequences. Natural disasters. Revelation mentions earthquakes, famines, and celestial events, such as stars falling from the sky, as signs of the end times. These could correspond to actual geological and astronomical events that cause widespread destruction. Pestilence and disease, plagues and epidemics are mentioned in Revelation as one of the signs of the end times. These could correspond to global pandemics or widespread disease outbreaks with devastating consequences. Environmental catastrophes. Revelation talks about the seas turning to blood, environmental degradation, and impacts on marine life. These could symbolize ecological disasters or actual events that severely affect the planet's ecosystems. Cosmic events. Revelation describes cosmic disturbances such as the darkening of the sun and moon, which could correspond to astronomical events like solar eclipses, volcanic eruptions blocking out sunlight, or even events involving celestial bodies. Gathering of saints. The Doctrine and Covenants prophesies the gathering of the saints in preparation for the second coming of Christ. This could involve cataclysmic events that prompt believers to come together for safety and spiritual preparation. Wars and rumors of wars. Similar to Revelation, the Doctrine and Covenants foretells of wars and conflicts that could escalate to global proportions, leading to widespread devastation and disruption. Natural calamities. Prophecies in the Doctrine and Covenants also mention earthquakes, famines, and disasters that could disrupt societies and economies, preparing the world for a reckoning or renewal. Second coming and judgment. The ultimate cataclysmic event prophesied is the second coming of Christ, accompanied by judgment and a renewal of the earth. This event signifies the end of the current world order and the beginning of a new era. It's important to note that interpretations of these prophecies can vary widely among scholars and religious believers. Some view them as literal descriptions of future events, while others interpret them symbolically, representing spiritual truths or moral lessons. In either case, these prophecies often reflect themes of divine judgment, renewal, and the ultimate triumph of good over evil. In summary, the catastrophic events described in the Book of Revelation and the Doctrine and Covenants could encompass a range of natural and supernatural phenomena that would profoundly impact humanity and the earth. Aligning with various interpretations of end-time prophecies in Christian and LDS theology.
Wondering how 3 Nephi can apply to our day, I ask the next question. Question: Is there one cataclysmic event that would cause all those things to happen in a short period of time across the earth?
The idea of a single cataclysmic event that could cause all the prophesied events in religious texts like the Book of Revelation or Doctrine and Covenants to happen simultaneously or in a short period of time is a topic of theological interpretation and speculation rather than scientific certainty. These texts often describe a series of interconnected events leading up to a culmination or end times, rather than a single isolated event. However, here are some hypothetical scenarios that could potentially align with such cataclysmic interpretations. Global nuclear war. A large-scale nuclear conflict involving multiple nations could lead to devastating wars, widespread destruction, environmental degradation, such as nuclear winter, and societal collapse, which could be interpreted as fulfilling elements of end-time prophecies. Impact event. A significant asteroid or comet impact could cause global fires, earthquakes, tsunamis, and climate disruptions, leading to widespread chaos and catastrophic consequences, akin to some descriptions in prophetic texts. Pandemic and ecological collapse. A global pandemic combined with environmental crises, such as widespread droughts, famines, and ecological collapse, could lead to societal breakdown, mass migrations, and global instability, fulfilling aspects of prophesied calamities. Cosmic event. A rare cosmic event, such as a nearby gamma-ray burst or a massive solar flare, could cause global disruptions to technology, climate, and ecosystems, potentially triggering societal collapse and fulfilling apocalyptic prophecies. It's important to note that these scenarios are hypothetical and speculative. While they align with certain interpretations of religious prophecies, predicting such events with precision is beyond current scientific capability. Moreover, interpretations of these prophecies vary widely among religious scholars and believers, ranging from literal to symbolic interpretations.
Hypothetical and speculative. Take the answers from Mr. GPT as you will, but according to scriptural prophecies, something is coming our way, and it doesn't sound like a picnic.
Our Savior and Redeemer Jesus Christ will perform some of his mightiest works between now and when he comes again. We will see miraculous indications that God the Father and his Son Jesus Christ preside over this church in majesty and glory. But in coming days it will not be possible to survive spiritually without the guiding, directing, and comforting and constant influence of the Holy Ghost.